Supreme Court clearing the way for Texas to enforce a law that would allow state officials and law enforcement to arrest and then deport illegals who cross the border in Texas. But last night, that ruling was put on hold by a federal appeals court with a hearing expected to take place a little bit later this morning. Joining us now for reaction is the former acting Border Patrol Commissioner Mark Morgan and former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf. Gentlemen, good morning. This one, a lot to follow here over the last 10 hours or so. So when this all broke yesterday, Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, tweeted out that in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court allows Texas to start enforcing SB 4 that allows the arrest of illegal immigrants. Now, we still have a hearing in the Fifth Circuit Appeals Court, but this is clearly a positive development. And then moments later, Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, tweeted out that we fundamentally disagree with the Supreme Court's order allowing Texas's harmful and unconstitutional law to go into effect. SB 4 will not only make communities in Texas less safe, it will also burden law enforcement, which to me is gaslighting 101. Mark, to you first, what happened?
Yeah, first of all, the White House press secretary, her last part of that statement is that SB 4 is going to sow chaos at the border. Are you kidding me? We've had an unmanageable level of chaos at all the southern border for the past 3 years, so it's just not serious. But look, this is a little bit of a legal technicality here that's allowed in our justice system right now. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals basically overruled the United States Supreme Court. And it's bizarre because the original district court order stayed SB 4, said they couldn't implement it while they're waiting for the merits. The Court of Appeals then lifted that. And then that's what brought it to the Supreme Court, which Governor Abbott won. It goes back to the same appeals court, and they reversed their original decision. And now we're back to where we were, square one.
Yeah, it doesn't. So, Chad, it basically, we'll see what happens today, but this basically means that law enforcement down there in Texas would have the ability to either deport a migrant or charge a migrant with criminal trespassing and let that play out in the courts in the state of Texas. But either way, Greg Abbott said this would be a huge win for the crisis along the 800 miles of border in Texas.
Well, undoubtedly, it's a win. It's a win because the federal government's refusing to do its job. And so Governor Abbott's having to, in the state of Texas, I should say, in the legislature, is really taking some unprecedented action here. And I think that's really important to recognize. I don't think the state of Texas and the governor would do what they're doing if the federal government and the Biden administration just did their job there in Texas along that border, preventing the illegal entry of hundreds of thousands and millions of migrants over the course of the last several years. This case will eventually go back to the Supreme Court to be ruled on the merits. It's obviously headed there. But look, I think this is a fundamental question that we have to solve, and the Supreme Court will eventually have to solve, is when the federal government refuses to act, refuses to do its inherent job, it's then incumbent upon the states and the governors of those states to actually protect their citizens. And that's what we're seeing here in the state of Texas.
Yeah, Mark, just a housekeeping question for you. You were the head of the Border Patrol under former President Donald Trump. This happened yesterday, and there are literally thousands of illegals that are about to cross the border in the state of Texas. How do they hear about a ruling like this?
Look, we keep saying this over and over again, Rob. This is a good question. The cartels are one of the most sophisticated criminal operations on the face of the planet. They know the weak, ambiguous policy loopholes are better than most Americans. You already had the president of Mexico weigh in that said he's not going to accept anybody that Texas sends back. I mean, so the American people need to understand just how sophisticated these organizations are, and they adapt effectively with respect to their techniques, tactics, and procedures to get around the loopholes and exploit the loopholes that are created by this administration.
Chad, I want to move now to Florida, and we'll keep an eye on where this goes on appeal today. But if this is put back in line, it would be a huge deterrent, I guess. But maybe bad news for Arizona, California, and New Mexico, the other border states along the southern border.